If you want to learn more about one of the craziest new triathlon bikes out there and what I think about it, be sure to stick around because today we're going to be talking about one of the most insane bikes I've ever seen, the DiamondBack Andean. So you might be wondering why I'm talking about this crazy bike and not any of the other crazy concept bikes that you see all the time. And that's because this isn't actually a concept. This is a real bike that anyone will be able to buy. It's not just for the pros, it's for anybody. According to DiamondBack, the bike is going to start at $6,280 and it's going to go up to $8,600. So there's going to be a bunch of different wheel options, drivetrain options, all that type of stuff that you'd get from any normal bike. So obviously this is a triathlon specific bike. It does pass ITU regulations for non-draft legal racing. So that means you're probably going to be seeing this type of bike coming up in Kona, not this year, but probably in the upcoming years if it's proven to be one of the fastest bikes out there. So according to DiamondBack, this bike is designed kind of the same way as MotoGP motorcycles. So those are basically just like the fastest racing motorcycles. Don't worry, I had to look that up too. So you can tell by looking at the bike that it does look a lot like a motorcycle, and I guess that's a lot more aerodynamic and it just looks super cool too. How they designed this bike is not really how you'd expect it to be. Apparently they designed it with the wheels and tires first, and then afterwards they kind of designed the frame around that. So according to them, the wheels are the most important part for aerodynamics, and then filling in the space in between with the frame is what really helps make the bike the most aerodynamic. So as you can see, the frame goes right up to the side of the wheels to the front and rear wheels, so they're really filling in that space. There's really not very much room in the middle of the frame where there isn't anything. So I guess that's how they just make the bike the most aerodynamic as possible. So a really cool thing about this type of frame that you can't really have with other type of frames is that there's actually some storage compartments integrated into the frame. So down by the chainring on the drive side, you can actually see there's a little compartment where I guess you could put CO2 cartridges, like tubes, tools, all that type of stuff that you might need. So you wouldn't have to have that in a saddlebag, and maybe that's a bit more aerodynamic or just a bit more convenient. And there's also a kind of top tube bag. I don't really think it's a bag, but it's specifically designed for that bike, which apparently it's more aerodynamic with that piece on there. So with your storage for your gels and all that, it's more aerodynamic than if you didn't have that on the bike. So DiamondBack is claiming that this is going to be the fastest triathlon bike out there. It definitely looks like it, but I can't wait for people to start testing it out and see if it really lives up to the hype, or if it just really only works in a wind tunnel and it won't turn out well during races. But if what they're saying is true, I definitely think this is going to be changing the game. So now I'm going to tell you guys what I think about the bike and go a little bit more in detail with a few of the interesting designs that the bike has. So first off, I think the bike looks really good. It looks insane, it looks crazy, but I still think it looks pretty nice. But some people online, I'd say about 50-50, people were thinking that it looks really ugly and some people think it looks really good. But I really like it, and I really wouldn't mind if bikes started looking more like this in the future. So one interesting thing about this bike that you might not expect is that it has disc brakes. So it's totally designed with disc brakes on a triathlon bike. I honestly really haven't seen any other triathlon bikes with disc brakes out there. I could be wrong, but I think this might be one of the first ones. And you're definitely just starting to see this in cycling, so it's interesting to see, and I'm not 100% sure if the disc brakes are proven to be better than regular brakes, if they're more aerodynamic, lighter, whatever, if the advantages are really worth it for, especially in triathlon bikes where you're not even braking that often. But it's interesting to see, and I'm guessing we're probably going to be moving towards disc brakes on most bikes in the future. One of the kind of funny things that DiamondBack mentioned is that they have kind of a cubby down below, and they mentioned that you could be putting your wallet in there or your keys. And really I'm thinking, if you're buying a bike like this that's super expensive, super aero, super crazy, I wouldn't be putting my wallet or my keys in there, especially during a race. When you're buying that bike, you don't want to be adding extra weight, you don't want to be adding extra random stuff inside the frame of your bike. So that's kind of a funny thing, but I guess you don't have to do that. You could be putting bike pumps or tubes and that type of stuff, tools, but it's kind of funny that they said that. So one thing that I found kind of strange is that they designed the whole bike to be super aerodynamic, but they didn't actually use a disc wheel on the back. So you'd think that if they're designing the whole bike around the wheels, they'd be using a disc wheel on the back, since it's obviously much more aerodynamic than a deep dish rim. But after doing a little bit more research, I found out that in Kona, they're not allowed to use disc wheels on the rear. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty certain that you're not allowed, so I guess that would make sense since they're designing the bike for the Ironman triathlons, for the most pro athletes out there, and most of those guys are going to be racing at Kona, so it definitely makes sense that they're designing a bike that's going to be legal there. I'm assuming you'd be able to use a disc wheel on the back though if you had one with a disc brake as well. I know Zip makes disc wheels with disc brake. They just started making them. Anyways, I saw them on their Instagram page, so I'm pretty sure they're making them. So yeah, I'm assuming you'd be able to use a disc wheel on the back if you really wanted to. One thing that kind of got me thinking is that this bike is designed to be super aerodynamic. It has all these special parts coming right up to the wheels and everything. But to me, it just looks really heavy. So I'm kind of wondering if the bike's aerodynamic advantage is really going to offset how much heavier it has to be just to have all those extra parts. I'm guessing it's made from the best carbon fiber, probably the best materials out there, the lightest it can be, but it still to me just looks like it's going to be really heavy. So I'm interested to see if the aero advantage really offsets how much it weighs. So that's it for me. This is one of the craziest bikes I've ever seen, but in the best possible way. It definitely looks like it's going to be changing the game, and if what DiamondBack is saying is true, I think this is going to be leading the way for what bikes are going to look like in the future. Thanks for watching, everyone. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Let me know down below what you guys think about this bike and if you think it's actually going to be what they're saying it's going to be. If you guys didn't know yet, I just made a new Facebook page for the YouTube channel. So if you guys want to share my videos, be sure to do that. You just got to search TheTriGuy in Facebook. It's super easy to find. This video will be on the page so you can share it with anyone who you think might want to see it. Thanks for watching, everyone, and never stop trying.